All right, so this period of instruction, I am Sergeant Humphreys. Cool. To become an instructor at 341 through 52 Advanced School Trained AMC. Today we're going to go over basically anything and everything for mortars in a broad spectrum. This morning is going to be extremely wave tops, kind of going over topics, giving you guys bullet points for what you need to dive into in the future. After that, in the afternoon and the following days to come, we're going to go into the weeds on those details. All right, so it'll be a lot of information. I expect you guys to write down as much as you can. Whether or not you retain it is completely up to you and your studying and how many questions you ask. If you don't understand something, ask those questions, and I can give you pictured examples, I can give you real world examples, and anything you need to be able to get a grasp on that, on whatever you're missing. Right? So, the overview, what we're going to be going over, we're going to start with your core competencies, which is something that you guys should already know. Your weights, your ranges, the nomenclature of your system, and all that jazz. Next, we're going to go over the indirect fire process, how it goes from the OP spotting an enemy to rounds on that enemy. The whole process for that, and how it cycles, and how it goes into that infinite cycle. We're also going to be hitting call for fire. I know you guys have that information pretty well and done, but we're going to go a little bit further into it and tying that into the indirect fire process. Then we're going to go into gunline commands. I heard that some of you guys kind of already knew a little bit about that. That's also going to get tied into that indirect fire process. So as you see now, you have that process as like the wave tops, and then we're going into each specific piece of it, right? And then the fire direction center, also a part of that indirect fire process. We're going to go into a lot of detail on that. That's going to take a reasonable amount of time, because that is going to consist of your aiming circle, your plotting boards, and some other aspects that we'll go over in the future. All right. Then we'll go over laying in the gun line with the aiming circle. For the most part, there's not going to be a prac app to that, but you will see and have imagery on how that is done, as well as the process. Okay. And then we're going to go over actual employment, so recon selection of MFP, also known as RSOP, and then also how to go from start to finish. Say like you're rolling up your vehicles and you get into your MFP, what do you do now? That type of thing. Priorities of work. And then we're going to get into bigger aspects like platoon level aspects, company level aspects, and battalion level aspects with the fire support plan process. Fire support plan is whenever your battalion gives you that battalion level order, the fire support plan is briefed in that. So I'm going to teach you guys how to kind of build a fire support plan and what it actually looks like. So that way whenever you get to that time, you can make your own fire support plan. I've made 2 battalion fire support plans within 3rd LAR, and both times the BC, 2 different BCs, but they've said that they're the best that they've seen. So hopefully we're going to get you guys to that type of understanding. And then finally, we're going to go over the TNR requirements for passing advanced mortars course. Right? All of these topics are important because these are things you're going to be going over. These are things you're going to have to already know when it comes to going to AMC. I know some of you guys are 0313s at the time, currently, but there is still the chance that they might send you to the freaking 41 school. They might send you to then AMC as well. Go to the East Coast. I might be around. All right. So that is the main things that we're going to be going over. Do we have any questions on that before we move on?
For the fire support plan, does that do the GS, ES, and attachment?
Yeah, general support, direct support, and detachments, attachments. Yeah, basically, That is a very small portion of it, yes.
Sorry, you said this is for the morning, or is this like for the overview for the next few days?
That's the overview for the next few days. We're gonna wave top all of those topics. And then we're gonna get into the weeds with them, over the next few days. All right. So starting with the 81's mission, does anybody know what the 81's mission is?
Deliver timely, accurate fire support. There's an on time.
Essentially, yes, right? That is the, that's like the bare bones of it. The way that I remember it, without looking at my thing, is delivering timely and accurate fires in support of the maneuver commander, right? That is the bare bones of it. The TM states to provide close, accurate, and timely and direct fires in the offense and in the defense for the infantry battalion and its supporting elements. I'll say that again. To provide close, accurate, and timely indirect fires in the offense and in the defense for the infantry battalion and its supporting elements. So essentially what we said, just in different words, right? And it's talking about offense and defense.
How'd you word that beforehand? Like, what was your, not, you just read the exact thing, but what did you say before to sum it up?
To sum it up, to provide close, timely, and accurate fires in support of a maneuver commander. Okay, why do we need fires to be close? Close in proximity to the target.
Which precedent? Which precedent in that?
Right. So like when we have that first round, we want it to be close to that target, so that way the adjustments are smaller. What about timely?
We don't want to treat it out, we want to make sure we have all our.
Right. We talked about immediate suppression a few days ago, and how like the speed of which we are getting rounds out affects how many people in that freaking immediate suppression mission, how many friendlies are going to go, and then how many freaking enemies we're going to be able to take out. What about accurate fires?
Want to hit what you're aiming
Mark.
Want to hit what you're aiming at?
And hit what you're aiming at, right? So there's times, and you'll see those times, when we have missions that are putting us closer to the friendlies than danger close, like within 200 to 100 meters. We want to be accurate, so that way we're not accidentally having blue on blue incidents. Excuse me. Crap. Catching something. All right, so starting with our nomenclature here. What do we know about M253?
Fire system.
The M253.
253 Canyon, Blue
30.51 pounds.
30.5 pounds, right, as it states on here. For this generation of cannon, the previous generations of cannon did not have a badge, so therefore it was labeled as 29 pounds. So you'll see that sometimes, as well as your breech plug also comes off. So oftentimes they'll weigh it, like just as the piece itself, like without the breech plug or something like that. That's kind of why the TM is saying that it's lighter than it is. But it's 30.5. Right. What about some components for it? I already gave you one. What is this? Breech plug. All right. What is this? Firing pin. Recess. Firing pin recess. And then the firing pin itself. Right. What about these? Air cooling fins. Cooling fins. Right. Whatever you want. Just cooling fins. How many of them are there?
One.
Just one. Why?
Spiral.
It's a spiral. Somebody got you. All right. What about right here below the collar locking up? Or the collar clamp, sorry.
Stopping band.
Lower stopping band, right. All right. What about up here? Upper stopping band. What about at the very end?
Band.
Band.
What's the name for it? Quit laughing on me out.
All right. What is this called?
Don't flare.
Flare.
Okay.
It is out there.
All right, it is flare, but it is called the blast attenuating device, also known as the BAD.
Bad.
All right, what about at the end of the BAD is what? Giannis,
Yes, sir.
what'd you say?
I was gonna say, it's blast because I forgot A to D. It's blast.
I could have swore you said the answer.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay. What is this? It's a reinforced lip. Yep, so remember if we ever went over our misfires, once you get to the horizontal point of no return, then that freaking A-gun or ammo man's hands are going to, the meaty portions are gonna go past that reinforced lip. Alright, so we're using that nomenclature while we're going over our misfires. Cool?
Sorry, what did you say the BAT stands for?
Blast attenuating device. So attenuating, meaning it's directing the blast to where it's pointing more outward than it would be if it was just flat, like a 60s tube. Alright? So if it was like a 60s tube where it's just flat and it has that reinforced lip at the end, you notice how like when you're closer to a 60s tube, it almost hurts more than an 81s. But that's just because the blast, when it comes out, it's just coming out like that, right? It's going immediately out left and right and forward. With the blast attenuating device, it angles it more towards just going out directly. So people beside it don't have as much effects, right? Just technically speaking, if you drop too many rounds and you don't have a BAD, you're gonna lose some brain cells, okay? All right, what about your bipods?
M177 Alpha 1.
Okay, cool. What are these?
The shocks.
Shocks, okay. What about this?
Colorado. Well, no, that's not Colorado.
That's for 60s. So, collar clamp, yeah. And this is the collar itself, right? What do we have here?
The side mount.
Dovetail. Is it called a dovetail? It's called
not a dovetail on the 80s.
Sight
unit
adapter.
sight unit adapter, correct? So this is the sight unit adapter. What about on this side here? Traverse hand wheel. And then the traverse bar itself. And then we've got the elevation hand wheel, elevation bar, cross level hand wheel, or cross level hand crank, whatever you want to call it, and the cross level bar. Okay, what about these bad boys?
You've got your mechanical leg and your the other leg.
Fixed leg, mechanical leg, right? All right, what about at the end of the legs? What are these?
Feet.
Huh?
Feet.
The feet? Why are you sawing them when you say feet?
It was just a guess, so I don't know.
Okay. All right, what are these called? I'll tell you what, it's the Mortarman's favorite card game. Spades. Those are the spades. All right, cool. So you've got your freaking cannon, your bipods, also known as your mount. What about your base plate?
M3 Alpha 2.
M3 Alpha 2. All right. You have, what's this? Retaining cap. This needs cleaned. Retaining cap. Okay. What about the spiral on it?
The entertaining spring. Or something spring.
It's a retaining cap spring should be. But what about here? This one.
The logo, the serial number, all that. I remember that.
What's it called? It's your nameplate. Your nameplate. Alright, cool. Whenever you are placing, where does the nameplate go for 60s?
English.
60s.
Straightforward.
You guys put it straightforward.
Straight to the side.
And it goes 90. Alright, and then 481s?
45 degrees.
45. Alright, why is that? Do we know why?
I don't know.
Because your nameplate sits about exactly parallel to where the sight will be on each system. So if your direction of fire is this way, 60s, your site's gonna sit right here. For the 81s, your site's gonna be about right here. Make sense? Because we always put that nameplate right next to the stake, so we're gonna make that site unit as close to that stake as possible. All right, total weight of the system.
77.4 pounds.
Yes, technically. Also, per different clubs, it says 76 pounds.
76.
What about our site unit? What's it called?
67.
67. What are some of the components that are supposed to be in the site unit box?
3 NAD.
What is a NAD?
58. Night aiming device.
Night aiming device, what are the nomenclature for the night aiming device?
58 and 59.
58 and 59, which one's which? Orange or green?
58 the green and 59 the orange.
Okay. And nomenclature for parts of the site. You have,
The wing nuts.
what is this?
Elbow.
Elbow telescope, right? The elbow telescope. All right. You have, what is this?
That's the cross bubble.
Cross level bubble. What about this one?
Elevation bubble.
Elevation bubble. What is this?
The
Flexion.
that's a deflection knob.
Deflection
Anchoring.
knob.
Deflection knob. Bubble.
Technically, it's the minor deflection knob. Yeah.
Minor deflection knob.
All right. Cool. What about this one?
Elevation knob.
These two red layers here.
Deflection and elevation, blocking knobs.
Yeah, data locking knobs. Yeah. So now, data locking knobs. What about this?
Separator seal.
What is it called? It's an ICUP.
ICUP.
Pretty easy. Okay, somebody spell it.
ICP.
That's great. All right. Site. What about this?
Dovetail.
Yes.
Site mount.
It's annoying, right? Because the M67 still calls this a dovetail, but then the M1 77 Alpha 1 doesn't call the dovetail. Dovetail calls it an adapter. So this is still the dovetail, but it goes into the site unit adapter, right? So that's just something to remember. Okay. And then you've got your nameplate. Your nameplate number, right? In addition to your box, you have your nads. You should also have a firing pin wrench. You should have a flathead screwdriver and two
Allen wrenches.
thank you, Allen wrenches, and then a spare firing pin. Spare firing pin. Oh, that is, wow. All right. What is the nomenclature for the stakes? There actually is a nomenclature for it. Surprisingly. I did not know about it.
Is there a different one for the?
Different one for what? Okay. It's going to be, I'll leave that homework to y'all. Y'all are going to figure out the nomenclature for the stakes. Okay? So we already talked about the weight for the cannon. What's the weight for the bipod slash mount?
21.
Okay. What's the weight for the base plate?
23.
And what's the ditty to remember the weight for the base plate? I told somebody this morning.
And those are the numbers in it. So
Three altitude.
33 altitude, above the numbers, you're going to do that.
Right, so if it's 23 pounds, you flip those two numbers, you get 3.2. It's the M3 alpha 2. Right, so it's the same numbers for the nomenclature and for the weight. All right, cool. What about the weight for the site?
3 pounds.
3 pounds. What about the magnification? So, like when you look at it, the actual like zoom that it has, magnification.
4 times that.
3 quick questions.
3 times.
All right, we're getting a few different answers here. It is 4 times nominal 3.5 effective. So what that means is when it first came out of the shop, when it was a brand new optic, it can effectively work at 4 times. All right, 3.5 after it's gone through its wear and tear, eventually loses magnification, just because either the lenses get worn down or what have you. 3.5 is usually the correct answer that you want to hear, but just remember that it's 4 times nominal, 3.5 effective. All right.
Good.
Cool. What about? We already talked about max ranges today. We went over a little bit on the different max ranges that we can call it, right? So what's some that we heard?
5,813.
5,844
So,
with the pub.
5,844.
5,844. What about you?
5,913.
5,913. Where did that come from?
That came directly, that was like the final answer that we gave when me and Ed were getting PT this morning. Because like I asked you if that was a good answer.
Isn't 5,944 like the pub, but 913 is like the first reaching round we have?
So, I was about to get into that, but the reason why I'm asking is because max ranges do change. Because new rounds come out. The max range of the weapon system isn't necessarily based on the cannon. It's based on the round. So, for instance, take Arty. They have a usual they have their average max range, and then they have long distance rounds that can almost triple that max range. Same thing for HIMARS, they can do the exact same freaking thing. So, if we had that type of round, it wouldn't be the limitation of the cannon, it would be the limitation of the round. So, our max range per our publications, most recent publications coming out in 2016 and 2022, have the 2016 pubs have 5,833. The 2022 pubs have 5,844. I do not know of any new publications that have a max range of 5,913, but that is for new leadership to find and reassess, because I haven't seen any new rounds coming out, but M889 Alpha 4 and your M821 Alpha 4 are your longest range rounds currently. All right,
So I have a question.
it's up.
So for the rounds, like, isn't like most of the rounds like max effective like 50 around that ballpark? Or is it like,
Effective.
or max range, sorry?
So most max ranges, it's gonna vary between every freaking round. So I can't give you a straight answer on that. What I do know is your newer generations of rounds have been able to reach out and touch further, right? But your older rounds, we're sitting between like 5,600 and 5,800. But that is just dependent on which round you're using. Okay. We talked about minimum range. For 81s is what? 83 meters. 83 meters. What's a good ditty to remember that?
81 minus 2.
Plus 10. Right?
Oh, plus 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just your 81 millimeter mortar system, just remember that you add 2 to that, and it's 83 meters, right? What about for 60s? 75 meters. No real good ditty for that. Just it's a nice average number, 75 meters.
Middle range 83 meters for 81. Middle range 75 for 61.
All right. What about our rate of fire?
15 rounds.
60 rounds sustained, 30 rounds.
The max is 30 rounds for 15
No, for 2 rounds. It's the same
30
thing
rounds
as
a
mine.
minute for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So 15 rounds sustained, 30 rounds for 2 minutes. 30 rounds per minute for 2 minutes. That is doctrinal, right? What is the actual answer?
As fast as you can get them.
As fast as you can get them out, right? I've seen people beat the max rate of fire. I've seen people barely make it to the sustained rate of fire. Some people are just really crappy at dropping rounds, or their ammo men suck, right? And then sometimes you have star-studded squads that are able to drop rounds like faster than cycling. It's pretty cool. All right. We already talked about system weight and everything. What about the characteristics of your 81 millimeter mortar system?
Smooth bore, muzzle loaded, high fire weapon.
Okay, what are you missing?
Drop fire.
Drop fire, right? So, smooth bore, muzzle loaded, drop fire, high and low fire weapon. Howdy. I'll say it again, smooth bore, muzzle loaded, drop fire, high and low fire weapon. What's the difference between that and the 60s?
Drop fire.
So you can have, the characteristics for that is you'll say drop fire or trigger fire.
Maybe you keep characteristics one time, sorry.
What's up?
Maybe you keep the characteristics one time.
Smooth bore, muzzle loaded, drop fired, high and low fire weapon. Alright. For this next portion, do you have any questions on your characteristics, your nomenclature, or any of that stuff? There's not too much detail to get into this.
What was the max range for 16 millimeter?
Good question. I didn't go over it. 3,519 is your max range for the pubs that I have read. Granted, I'm sure that it has gotten more since the last time that I've seen it. So I would challenge you guys to go into the most recent pubs that you have. There should be a 2022 mortar pub that you can read and see if the max range is different.
It was 67, I might have misheard, but did you call something the high cup or hiccup?
The I cup?
I cup.
I cup?
That little rubber piece of your idea of the rest of it.
Okay, so I had to spell it for me. Okay.
I didn't hear when you said something.
I told you to spell it, but it's a joke. All right. Any questions? Nomenclature, characteristics? Okay, that's pretty cut and dry, right? I need to make sure that you guys have that stuff like written down because it's important, but it's not as important to the task at hand. That's shit that you should have known when you came out of ITV. The rest of it, now, we're getting into the news stuff. Cool. So, do you guys need a break? Do you guys need anything before we get into that? Push?
Push.
Cool.
If I use that,
Cool. Go ahead, use the head.
Here we go, little fucker. Probably the,